What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to contact me, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to hit you up with my thoughts and opinions on this new album from DMX called Exodus. Now, DMX is a Yonkers legend who we lost earlier this year in April, and this is a guy who really left behind a strong legacy. There's actually a point in time in the late 90s/early 2000s where I would say he was arguably the biggest rapper. In 1998, he dropped It's Dark and Hell is Hot and Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, two great albums in the same year. They both went platinum and did really well, and even his couple of albums after that were really dope projects. Of course, just like a lot of other MCs, as time went on, he did taper off a little bit, but he has always been loved for his ability to be emotional and heartfelt one minute, and then the next minute, he is a goddamn werewolf, just getting ravenous, snapping, violent, crazy. You know how DMX does, man. That's part of what made him so authentic. He could go one way or the other way, and regardless of how he was coming at you, he was keeping it real. So he's an artist who will always be respected for his authenticity. RIP to one of the GOATs, just to get that out of the way. He is a legend and an icon. But now we come to this first posthumous release, and I think going into it, people were pretty excited. This had been talked about for quite a while. There's a listening party not too long ago where people were talking it up, and obviously people wanted to hear more from DMX. But this album suffers from what a lot of posthumous albums suffer from. It has some questionable production choices, poor mixing, and it is rushed, sloppy, and unfinished like a bad paint job, or a hand job if you're nasty. But I do want to talk about some of the positives here, because it ain't all bad. The song That's My Dog is a nice opener with DMX and the LOX coming through with great verses, and in particular, I think Sheek Louch stole the show here. Sheek Louch is regularly underrated if you ask me, just because Styles P and Jada tend to get more of the love, but he's had a lot of good verses in his career, including on this one where he reps for Yonkers and also calls out the fake love in the industry. The anticipation on this song builds up as we wait for that DMX verse to come in. He's the last one spitting, and you might recognize this verse because it's the same one that he spit as a freestyle on his verses with Snoop Dogg. There's some really good lines in there, like when he spits, "I ain't playing with you niggas, I got kids your age, I ain't your father that should have stayed, too late, you should have prayed," just showing you where he was at when he did that verse, man. He was an older guy, around 50. He ain't messing around with these young bucks, because that's not how DMX is getting down. It's easily one of the standout tracks here, in spite of a hook from Swizz Beatz that's about as stale as 3-year-old croutons. And another great song is Hood Blues. This one simply works because of its simplicity. You got DMX with Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine, and Westside Gunn just going back to back to back to back with great verses. They got some gritty lines in here, as you would expect from all these artists, but I do gotta admit, DMX's flow on that last verse really is not as crisp as what it used to be in the old days. Of course, he was much older when he made this, so I can understand that. It happens to the best of us, man. We just can't keep up with what we used to do. But in spite of all that, his verse still has that DMX sound. You're going to get some of those growls and barks, that anger. He's spitting violent bars on here about kidnapping, hog tying, and head blasting, so it's okay. Just not DMX at his best, if you ask me. Take Control is another track that works due to simplicity. You got Snoop and X on here just spitting to the ladies, and it's the production on this one that really makes me like it. It has a bit of a G-Funk feel to it, you know? It's got that bubbly bass and also a Marvin Gaye sample, so this is on that thug love R&B rap type of shit. I think X was spitting some real shit on here when he said, "What you hate about me is what you love about me." If you have been in a long-time relationship, you know what that means, man. I don't even gotta explain it to you. And there is a funny line on here where X says that he gorilla fucks ass, so it's not really the most romantic song. That just sounds painful. Getting gorilla fucked in the ass, that's painful like if someone injected fire ants into your nutsack. Now, I've already talked about some of the big features on here, and you get more with Jay-Z and Nas on Bath Salts. Just when I saw the track list, I was looking forward to this one. Jay-Z, DMX, and Nas on a track, self-explanatory, but I was kind of let down by this one. First of all, that beat is more annoying than a mosquito flying in your ear in the morning time. It's just this repetitive siren going on throughout, so I didn't care for the production. And Jay-Z's verse, it's not very memorable or hard-hitting. He's just kind of bullshitting here and working these playful styles that don't really cut through. I would say Nas's verse is much better. He's as smooth as ever as he reflects on the rap game with lines like "whole game full of gimmicks, make a fool out of yourself for a post on academics." And as for the DMX verse, it's okay. It's just a recycled one from his 2009 song Spit That Shit. I would just expect more from these three overall. Didn't like the beat here at all, and on top of all that, the verses weren't that great, not a whole lot of chemistry in my opinion, and the mixing on this song and throughout some of the album is just not good at all, man. It sounds like they were trapped in a giant Tupperware container when they recorded this shit. But again, it's a posthumous release that does involve some cutting and pasting from the past, so I get it. I just gotta be honest, this is not the most crisp project from start to finish. A much better Nas-assisted track is Walking in the Rain, and I would say that this is one of the more polished songs on here. You're also getting a hook from Denon, who comes through with nice vocals. It's a very soulful track that has X reflecting on his hard life and his faith, while Nas comes through with a pretty great verse. But there were some bars on here that were kind of funny, though, when he's spitting about how there should be a movie made by Ava DuVernay about Nas, where Denzel Washington plays him but uses CGI to look like the young Nas. Something along those lines. It was a really random ass line, but this was one of the better songs on here. Still not a favorite. And now we got to get into some of the really bad songs on here, man. You have the song Dogs Out. This beat just sounds like a knockoff of G-Dep's Special Delivery, like some shit you would get from Walmart, that great value brand, not the top of the line, just a total knockoff. And you got Mega Wayne popping up on here, spitting some cannibalistic bukkake bars. He says that he has a bad bitch that swallows puppies. As for the DMX verse, it's alright, and these meh verses from DMX are kind of a reoccurring theme here. There aren't a lot of verses that really cut through. You do get some of those old verses as well, so it's hard to praise that too much. Just all around, just kind of a messy project, man. And this song in particular is one of the worst ones. It even has a hook from Swizz Beatz that, once again, is not good. This guy does have good hooks once in a while, but other times he's just repeating a phrase over and over and over again, just more times than necessary. It just gets irritating. It's like if your kid is tugging at your arm saying, "Can I have fruit snacks? Can I have fruit snacks? Can I have fruit snacks?" And then we get into some of these poppy, watered-down tracks. Hold Me Down is a song of faith that has a surprisingly bland vocal performance from Alicia Keys. I wasn't too impressed with her on this one. You also have a beat that could have used more layers, breakdowns, or just about anything to make it more interesting. And Skyscrapers, this just sounds like some cheesy shit that Eminem would make with Skylar Grey. That's what it reminded me of. You have this cheesy popish beat, then you have Bono from U2 singing on it. It's just a really awkward track where X's style does not mesh well with everything else that's going on. On top of all that, this song is lyrically loaded with cliches about, you know, coal turning into diamonds, you'll get stronger in life because of the struggle, life has joy and it has pain. I mean, these aren't new themes. Everyone deals with this. DMX has before, but it's not dealt with in any interesting way. The lines didn't really stick out to me. The sound of this one I did not care for. Just a really awkward track, man. This track is about as awkward as I was in high school, back when I was like 120 pounds, had a big crooked ass afro, glasses, bad acne, super shiny skin, which I still struggle with, by the way, but that's a whole other thing. Just awkward as hell, man. Now, I do kind of like the production on Money, Money, Money because it has that gothic Castlevania feel to it. Shout out to my boy Simon Belmont. Shout out to Cypher. Shout out to Alucard. If you're not watching that shit on Netflix, you need to. But the Moneybagg Yo feature on here just doesn't fit. His flow is about as crisp as a soggy loaf of bread, something you just pulled out of a pond with scum and algae hanging off it. Not a great verse that fit in well there. And the hook is pretty uninventive too. But to be fair, a song called Money, 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 you're not really expecting an incredible hook. But then again, maybe I shouldn't say that because Money Cash Hoes had a hook that stuck and it worked. But it's not the case with this one. Now, X's verse on this is once again a recycled one, this time from his 2012 song with Snoop called Shit Don't Change, a song that actually is better than most of the songs on here. But hey, that's the theme. When you go back and listen to older DMX, you can definitely notice the difference from then and now. There's a huge difference happening. Now, lastly, we're going to wrap things up here. We have the Exodus skit. This is just a 20-second clip of X's son saying hi to him, and this leads into the final song, not counting the outro track, Prayer, and the final song is called Letter to My Son. This is a track where X is admitting to his shortcomings and reaching out to his son. One of those songs that, you know, it's very personal. Obviously, it's going to be powerful within his family, so I do appreciate that. But overall, this is not a song that I really cared for. You have this minimalistic backdrop. Once again, X's flow is a little bit clumsy on this. Sonically, not that great, but there were some decent vocals on the end from Usher and Brian Joseph King, I believe was his name. There are some moments of the song I kind of like, but overall, I would put it as one of my least favorites. So at the end of the day, I wish I liked this album more because I love DMX. It was horrible to lose him earlier this year, but this one is just all over the damn place. I can't lie to you guys about it. So I'm going to give it 5.5 typical posthumous releases out of 10. I'm not going to go lower because there were some moments I liked here. There are a couple of songs I could see myself maybe coming back to once in a while. Some of the verses here and there are okay. Some of the features are okay. But man, overall, I mean, there are just too many issues here. I'm grateful to hear more from X, but the production choices on here, man, there's some brutal beats. I also found the mixing to be way off at times. This just didn't feel very special to me. This is not what I wanted as a posthumous release from DMX. It just feels kind of thrown together. You know what I'm saying? I wanted more DMX and less features, but I don't know. There was so much talk leading up to this album that X was working on this incredible album, and then just the way it dropped, it really didn't do it for me. And the last thing I want to point out is Cross and Infrared. If you remember Rough Riders back in the day, you might remember them. They are featured on here, but just for a stick-up skit where they're robbing people at a party who are listening to DMX's classic parody song, Party Up. And now I've said the word party so many times that it just does not make sense. So yeah, there you have it. Those are my thoughts on DMX's album Exodus. Don't have much more to say, but you guys let me know down in the comments section what you think about it. Did I rate it too high? Did I rate it too low? I kind of struggled with this one because I was going to go with a 5, but after some more listens, there were some little things here that I appreciated more, and a couple good tracks for how short it is, so I didn't go too hard on it, but even still, not a great project. But those are my thoughts. Hit me up in the comment section with your thoughts and opinions, and of course, make sure you do that good YouTube and social media stuff where you show me love and you show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I will see you next time.